Slow and steady. Slow and steady.
Welcome to the Footy Super Show. And now here's Sam, and filling in for Will, Mitch Rod.
Welcome back to episode 9 of the Footy Super Show. I'm Sam Kerridge, your host, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome back the ever-polished, the well-spoken man in Mitchy Rod.
Thanks very much, Sammy. Well-polished is probably just on top of the dome more than anything at the moment, but appreciate you being back for a third week now. I will actually say something here, now that I feel a little bit more comfortable at the desk.
Right.
Yeah, you start finding your footing a little bit more, so it means you've got a little bit more time to maybe get in the producer's ears. Now, I know last week you sort of threw me under the bus a little bit with the personal questions that came from nowhere, but I'd like to, if you will indulge me, just tell a bit of a story here. So I really like when there's really ropey connections that you have with, potentially with someone that's well known. So the stretchier you can make it, the better. I always find them hilarious. And if anyone does have anything like that, please in the comments, let us know about those stories. But myself and Samuel Kerridge here, we've actually got a shared history on the field. Now, do you know where I'm going with this?
Oh, not really, no.
Well, I would just like to say on the record that I feel that I am responsible for the AFL career of Sam Kerridge, and I'll tell you why. Let's round back to round 1 of 2009. So under 18s, I think it was Mildura Redcliffe at Quandong Park, if I remember correctly. And you always go into a new season full of hope, full of optimism, thinking, yeah, this year's going to be the year. I started at centre half back, a little bit of a move forward from the fullback position I was normally in, which was quite nice. But we'd heard about this 15-year-old kid who was going to be playing, who was always going to be shooting the lights out at some stage. And here he comes, waltzing up at centre half forward, really looking like he's chiselled out of granite, probably already run a 78 in the beat test at that stage.
I like your story already. This is great.
Meanwhile, I never saw a buffet I didn't like, and some things haven't changed. So Sammy was lined up next to me, and I got an absolute towing in the opening quarter. So 10 touches, 2 goals, just ran right on me, and there was no way I was keeping up. And thought, going into the quarter time break, can't get worse than this. This has got to be as low as it goes, so we'll be all right from here. Coach gives me a bit of a reprieve, says, Mitch, we're going to put you to centre half forward. We'll change things up a little bit. You stay there, let the half forwards do the work off you. Beautiful. So I get out there and line up back at centre half forward. Who should come waltzing in again at centre half back this time? But Sam Kerridge once again. I've gone, oh no, this is not good. Second quarter, again another 10 touches on me and managed to run forward and kick a goal. I reckon it's just like, you know, sometimes you see a glint in people's eyes when they just know that they're in for a big one. That was radiating off you then as a 15-year-old. And I knew I was in absolute trouble. And from there, I don't remember the second half. I think I blacked out because it was just not a great memory for me. But from there, if I remember correctly, you went up to the seniors the following week. Yep. Stayed in the side for the rest of the year.
Yeah, never looked back.
And then the next 2 years as the Pioneers before you got drafted into the AFL. So I'd just like to say that I do believe I am responsible for your AFL career. And it's been a pleasure to share your AFL Rising Star nomination with you.
Thank you, mate. Well, it sounds like I owe you a beer or two, so we'll have to get to that, mate. But you know, well, you're the stepping stone I needed just to bounce me.
I mean, in all reality, you were going to do it to somebody. I'm just glad it was me.
There you go. Well, look, let's get into this week's show. We've got a huge show coming up. We'll take a look at the round that was in round 7. We had a couple of huge results, and we say this every week, but the ladder's just starting to take shape, and I'm really intrigued into round 8 because there's a couple of sides going up against each other that can really force a bit of a gap in the top 3 or 4. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, when you come to the halfway mark of the campaign, you get a real sense of who's sitting where, and we're only a couple of weeks away from that now. It's still quite tight around the board, but as you said, Sam, maybe a couple of teams just starting to emerge from the pack. Absolutely. We'll look at last week's game of the round. The segment of the week, Defender of the Week, which our special guest for tonight may or may not have won already. Speaking of our special guest,
yes,
an absolute stalwart of the competition.
Yes.
Potentially in career best form.
The Rolls Royce.
And we like the big dogs on the show, don't we?
We do.
We love getting the big dogs on the show, and there's no bigger big dog than this man. So we're looking forward to having a chat to the skipper, Mitch Rogerson from the Mildura Footy Club, which will be exciting.
One of the smoothest movers in the competition. Look forward to chatting with Rojo soon.
Absolutely, and obviously a huge game to come. So we'll quickly run over the results that were, mate. Huge day out at Quandon Park. Redcliffs defeated Winnie 14-10, 94, 11-5, 71.
Real backs against the wall performance from the Tigers, wasn't it? We sort of wondered where they were sitting at that stage. They've lost a couple of key players, Jake McCreary being one of them. Jake Reed was missing from the week before. But they came out and really from the start, they held the advantage out there. So huge win for the Tigers, pushes them from 9th, I believe, up to 7th now. So important win. And for the Roos, might be one they'll sort of lament a little bit, and they'll certainly hope to turn the form around.
Absolutely. They need to get going, the Winnie Roos. Imps defeated, well, we'll get back to that game actually, because that was our game of the round.
Yes.
So we'll touch on that one later. But my boys, the D's, defeated the Doggies out there at the precinct, 18-11, 119. The 3 goals, 10, 28.
We've said how close the competition is this year, and I should give this a bit of credit to my Hot FM colleague, Michael Di Fabrizio, as we were going through the call. We had a look through, and the 91-point margin you guys ended up having in the end over South Mildura, the previous biggest margin before that was actually the Dogs, I think, defeating Orion United by 40. So you more than doubled the biggest margin in that one, which I guess goes to show how few the blowouts have been this season, but I guess how good of a performance it was from your mob.
Was good. The boys got rolling, which was nice. We won't touch on the D's too much. We can do that later on. And then the Kangas defeated the struggling Orimple down there at Underball. No Titch, as we sort of touched on last week. Didn't quite get up, but 11-12, 78 to 6-15, 51.
Again, big result there for the Kangas.
Huge.
And they're sitting quite nicely at the moment. And I've got a good one going ahead, whereas for Orimple, obviously, it's a tough position for them to come from. You'd back them in more often than not, but certainly they're going to need a win sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. 6 goals, 15 isn't going to win you too many games of footy, and they've got another huge game this weekend to potentially go 1-6 or get another win on the board. So they're the results from the weekend. Let's recap the previous round with Vision, thanks to SFNL and their naming rights sponsor, Barry Plan. All right, Mitchie, let's take a look at the Winnie Redcliffs game. Huge game down there. Just a couple of stats. Redcliffs plus 20 contested, plus 31 uncontested, plus 26 uncontested marks.
Yeah, certainly great performance there from the Tigers as we have a bit of a look at the co-captain, Jack Parker, who's had a brilliant start to this campaign. Another 34 touches for him. It's 76% efficiency on the weekend, a goal to go with it as well. And this man's flown under the radar a little bit for the Tigers. Jasper Turner has played quite well as a rebounding defender. Can also play lockdown as well. Another 31 disposals for him. 4 rebound 50s to go with it as well, and 11 marks. Certainly a general in defence.
Yeah, he's been huge, I think, and probably stiff not to be the defender of the week this week without giving too much away. But I was quite surprised how he went about it when we come up against him, and I think he's having a super season so far. But this man's hitting his straps at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, of course, 5 goals there for Jared Brandon, including this bomb from outside 50, making the distance easily in the end. Now at the top of the Tommy Bland medal leader table as well. Certainly starting to find a bit of rhythm now after, of course, missing all of last year with injury.
Absolutely. Now, considering the scoreline in this, obviously, Redcliff's running away with the game. Would you believe the inside 50 count was even?
It does surprise me a little bit. You wouldn't have sort of thought that, but clearly the efficiency was there from the Tigers, including from this man, the co-coach Jack Steele, who looks like he certainly gave him a nice focal point up forward. I mean, in the absence of Jake Reed, he had to stand up and has done it well. Nice bit of work there to open up for Jimmy Kennedy, who was again superb for the Tigers, but can also pinch hit in the ruck too, which is handy for them.
Absolutely. 4 goals, 3 there for Steele, but we'll move on to the D's and the Doggies game here. Bit of a landslide in the end, but my boys were up and about.
Certainly were, as we have a look at some touches here from Jackson Nagu, of course, the defender of the week last week for the Doggies. This time 22 disposals for him from across half back. Spent a little bit of time further up in the midfield as well. 9 marks for him, another 101 fantasy points. And Fitzgerald here, one of about, I think, 17 that playing for the Doggies out there. I'm pretty sure Logan Fitzgerald had a fair bit of the footy in hand, 28 disposals for him as well. But it's a tough day for the Doggies here. Your boys managed to get on top early and ran away with it, and this man especially was on fire.
He can play the game, this fella. We've obviously got him for a reason, and a few other clubs were certainly sniffing around when they got wind that he wanted to come to town. But 23 disposals, 130 odd ranking points, and he's had 10 shots on goal, mate. So an absolutely outstanding day for Big Lukey.
Yeah, certainly. And what he was doing really well was taking contested marks up the ground as well. Now, I don't know whether you've gotten into the editors here or not,
Now,
Sammy.
just
but
before we get started, I've got nothing to do with this.
you definitely had a say in this. Just looking at your own work, busting through the contest, which nicely done. I don't like the muted celebration. I'd love a bit more up and about from you, but 6 goals, although in saying that, all to the one end of the ground. You didn't want to bother going to the Deakin Avenue end, mate?
I was getting up the boys. They let me out to dry probably in the second quarter when South's got a bit of a run on, so I had to just regroup in the third quarter. And lucky to get on the end of a few, mate. But anyway, that's enough of that. We'll get over to the Kangaroos, and Sherlock for the Roo boys is having an outstanding season so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Another 32 touches for him, 9 rebound 50s, 2 inside 50s to go with it as well. 9 marks, 8 contested possessions. He's just been a beast, really, in every game he's played for the Kangas this season. And what a great sight it is to have this man back as well, Kane Stevens, for the Kangas, I beg your pardon. And obviously a McLeod medal winner. He's just been a star over years. And again, another great performance for him, 30 disposals, a goal to go in there as well, 13 contested possessions. He just knows how to get it done.
He does. I'm not sure it's great for everyone else in the competition, but we obviously want to have as many rock stars as we can in the comp, and I think he's just obviously playing the home games at the moment, which is a pretty good luxury to have. But the Kangas are up and about, and Orimple, huge game this weekend. But mate, this takes us to game of the round, which was a ripping contest in the end, and Harzy just popped up again.
Yeah, he knows how to get it done, doesn't he? Brad Hards is just on fire with another 23 disposals for him. Maybe smaller by his standards in terms of totals, but again, does all the hard stuff each and every week. See him, his natural habitat at the bottom of the contest down there. He's kicking inside 50, and of course, as part of the big freeze game out there as well, which is the Eagles have got the blue and white Guernseys on. Brad Hards leading from the front for Imperials. A big win for them in the end. It was quite an important one to get across the line.
Well, it was at the game of the round for the reason, and I really thought Robinvale would have bounced out of the box, but to Imps' credit, they're making number 3 a bit of a fortress there, and we'll take a look at Oxley here, who he seems to pop up here every week. He's had another fantastic game. He's brilliant off half-back. I'm just wondering how they can get a bit more bang for their buck out of him potentially.
You wonder whether or not maybe there's a chance for a bit of a move into the midfield to spend a bit of time there as well. I'm sure that Donny Falvo and the Brains Trust down there are probably having these conversations as we speak. Another 28 disposals for him. Certainly the accumulator from half-back, but you wonder if you have him in there with a Baxter Mensch going at the same time, just to sort of get the bit of yin and yang going out of the midfield, could be worth trying.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's been huge for Robinvale thus far, but like you said, the Blue Guernseys look good, don't they? And what a day down there. I think they raised over $50,000 for a fantastic cause. And they look good, mate, which is good.
Yeah, and obviously we do have to say along with that too, of course, valet to Neil Danaher, of course, the patron of the Big Freeze and Fight M&D Foundation, of course, passed away during the week, so certainly our thoughts with him and his family.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. A couple of huge results there. The competition starting to take shape. Fantastic, as you touched on, for the Big Freeze down there for our game of the round. As we said, over $50,000 raised, which is outstanding. Yeah,
huge, a massive total, and obviously going to a worthy cause for the Fight M&D Foundation.
Incredible. Well done to those organisers down there. That's enough of the results.
Yep.
Let's get into
our favourite
board stuff. Now, I know the big fella, we're in touch most weeks, and his segment, he loves it, and he just wants to make sure that we keep pumping it up.
It's his baby. He wants to protect the integrity of it.
Oh, he does, mate. He does. But it's time for our Defender of the Week.
Let's do it.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, this guy may not have stuffed the stat sheet on the weekend, and like I said previous weeks, we've got a bit of slack for giving it to the high numbers and these flashy types. But I'm lucky enough to play with this bloke, and he's nearly first picked every week. He's only a young kid, but he's really starting to mature as a footballer, and I think he's starting to really make a name for himself. And he's had 17 disposals on the weekend, 7 contested, 5 marks, and he's an absolute dog, and he goes about it the right way. Our Defender of the Week this week is none other than Zac DeRosa from the Mildura Football Netball Club.
Yeah, he's just done a brilliant job just slotting himself into that back line. It's actually quite a settled unit you've got back there at the moment, and a lot of guys who can play those different roles. They can turn rebounding defender one week, can play lockdown the following week. it's got to be real strength that you guys have got going down there. But yeah, DeRosa, love the work he does, the 1%ers he puts in every week. And the fact for a guy who's so young, he's so calm under pressure. I don't know, he's only 19 maybe, I think, going through. But yeah, it looks like he's been playing senior footy for 10 years. So certainly a real asset you guys have got in the back line.
Oh, he's been an absolute staple for us down there this year, but also just to watch him mature last year. I think he really stepped up, fresh out of school, premiership player now. To see him sort of come out of his shell a little bit this year and get some of those, key forwards or key small forwards in the game has been outstanding. And I just love his attitude.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm lucky enough to have a front row seat to it every week, but I think there'd be coaches and sides out there now that will put a bit of time and effort into this bloke and know that he's obviously going to get their best small forward or one of their best forwards every week. And credit to him, mate. He's stepping up, which is great. So, Zachy D, he's on holidays at the moment. Kids these days. We got the bye and he said,
as soon as you got 2 weeks off, he's like, I'm off to Bali.
I'm out. I'm gone. So off he's gone. So he's probably not watching. But Zachy D, you are our Defender of the Week, mate. Congratulations. Let's take a quick look at the ladder and where we sit after round 7.
Let's do so. And your boy's sitting pretty at the top at the moment, mate.
We are, mate. Going nicely. Yeah, 2 games clear at the moment, obviously with a few to play this weekend, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, sitting pretty for the time being. Owen move up into second spot.
Yeah, good result for them on the weekend. And again, sitting nicely at the moment with Merbean obviously coming off the bye in third. But both teams in pretty good position. I reckon they'd be quite happy if you said at the start of the year that's where they'd be sitting. I reckon they would have bitten your hand off.
I couldn't agree more. I think both those sides will be quite happy where they're going, but trying to keep a bit of a lid on it. Imps 4. South round out the 5. Wenny 6, Redcliffe 7. And as you mentioned, Redcliffe's had a win on the weekend, but it's taken them up to 7.
Yeah,
at the bottom.
Just goes to show how tight it is across the board there. And I don't know how many wins there are between about 4th place and 7th in there. There's probably only 1 or 2.
2.
So,
which is incredible.
Yeah, just goes to show how tight it is and the fact that anyone can really beat anyone this year. And yeah, we're coming up to round 8, but you can't rule anyone out at this stage because you just don't know what anyone's going to do in the back half of the season.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And then Robinvale or Rimple roll out at the bottom 8 and 9. Bit of work to do for those 2 teams, but again, as you mentioned, they're only 1 or 2 wins away from being up around the 6th, 5th mark there.
Yeah, I'd have to have a look. I don't know what you think, Sam, but are they the best last and second last place teams we've ever seen going around before? Like, I don't think anyone at the start of the year would have picked them to be in this position where they are right now, and both are great footy teams who just haven't been able to get across the line at the moment. So it's going to be really interesting to see, and we'll obviously preview the game between those two a little bit later on today.
Huge. We'll move over to the netball, mate. Robinvale train rolls on 6-0.
Just chugging along nicely, aren't they? Courtney Wakefield and the girls absolutely on fire.
Court's got them up and about, which is great to see. D's 2nd, Wenny 3rd, Owen 4th, Merbean 5th. Yeah,
nice work from the Pies out there. They've had a good run the last couple of years and got a nice program going out there. I think they had a few lean years for a while, but they've put a lot of time and effort in over the past sort of decade or so and starting to reap the rewards.
They have. They're going well. They're going well on the field and off the field, Merbean. So well done. Keep it up. South 6th, Imps 7th, Orimple 8th. And Redcliffe's with a bit of work to do there in last spot.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those competitions where anyone can win on any particular day.
It is, absolutely. That rounds out the ladders. We're going to go to a quick break because then up next we get to chat to our guests for tonight's episode, the superstar, Mitch Rogerson from the Mildura Football Club.
The Footy Super Show is proudly brought to you by White Mildura and Chemist Warehouse Mildura.
You know, when you're selling your home, most people focus on price, but the method of sale, that's the ingredient too many overlook. And just like every dish needs a different recipe, every property needs the right approach. Auctions create energy and competition, driving urgency and strong outcomes in the right market. Private sales offer flexibility and control, ideal for certain homes or when more time is needed. And fixed date sales, they build momentum with a clear deadline, giving buyers structure and motivation to act. Each method serves a purpose. In the end, it's the right method that brings it all together.
Discover Black Milk Specialty Coffee, Mildura's first true coffee institution, pouring premium 5 Senses coffee on our Synesso MVP machine, paired with fresh creative breakfast, brunch and lunch. Black Milk Specialty Coffee, 51 Deakin Avenue, Mildura.
Welcome to the Footy Super Show. And now here's Sam, and filling in for Will, Mitch Rod.
Welcome back to the Footy Super Show. We are joined by our special guest who needs no real introduction because this bloke is a superstar of the competition, Mitch Rogerson from the Mildura Footy Club. Welcome, mate. Good to have you.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to get you on. I was always going to get you on at some stage, but
Highly requested.
highly requested. My phone pinged a couple of times. When do you get me on? When are you getting me on?
Got the late call up today, the old 5 o'clock special.
He's already said, I've been Defender of the Week. Now, the next step is coming in studio.
He'll be in the hosting seat soon, Mitchie, but this bloke is in scintillating form. He's averaging 32 and a half, nearly 33 disposals this season. He knows that because he knows all his stats, which is great. But the number one sports physio in Mildura, they're saying.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, absolutely. And you can attest to that. You've experienced that firsthand, haven't you?
I have. I've really paid for his facility. I've been up there often, but no, business is going well.
It's going well, mate. Yeah, we're expanding, or we expanded last year, so into a new building there, the old Sports Power building. So things are going well, and as long as everyone keeps getting injured, which seems to be a lot at the moment, then not good for the teams, but good for business.
This is your time to shine, mate. But no, if you need anyone down at Revive Physio, make sure you get in and see the big fella. That was part of the people and getting on, so make sure you get down and see him. But mate, look, obviously you're in, as mentioned, in scintillating form this season. What's been a couple of the biggest factors behind your consistency this year?
I think probably just having a pre-season it wasn't uninjured or uninjured. I broke my finger as such, but probably legs-wise and being able to run probably really helped. And I guess playing a bit of that halfback role and coming on ball probably helps free up the body a little bit. And yeah, I don't know, maybe a few young boys can run off and do their thing while I just sit back a little bit. So I'd say definitely having a pre-season. I've noticed over the career, if you don't have a good pre-season and you're not running and building into round one, then usually it's a little bit harder to get going. So,
So I mentioned first off, cracking first name too, mate. I appreciate that. But the form for the team this season, obviously, it's a little bit of a different look to the team that won the flag last year, but yet you still only lost the one game going through. You've been across the board in really good form. How do you guys sort of go with that transition? And I guess knowing that there's going to be some outs, there's going to be some ins, and I guess trying to almost regenerate on the run.
I think that's been the pleasing thing this year. Like, as you said, we probably did have a big turnover of players that played in our flag last year, and a lot of young blokes stepping up to senior footy. I think we would have had 10 debutants almost this year so far. So I think it probably goes to show the game plan and what we've been working on though as well, and probably playing more of that system. And then probably just seeing the youth come through as well. Our depth, I think, has been a real testament over the last 7 weeks for us to have the injuries that we've had, but still be able to bag games and win games has been really important. So we've obviously known over the years we've been a very successful under 18 side. Would have had maybe 10 flags in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
We're probably starting to see those blokes now step up to senior level and be able to take that next step. So I think it's a real testament to our depth, and then also the system that we play in. We probably spend a little bit more time on that in the preseason in terms of getting our game style up and running. And we're probably just building, and we're playing with confidence, and we're using momentum to our strength as well. So.
I think you also forgot to mention got some pretty good coaches around that.
I'd say Marco is a good player, the coach. So Kerridge, he's not too bad. Yeah.
No, well, you mentioned your new role this season, and I think you've taken to it very well. It's fair to say the stat sheet doesn't lie, but talk us through it. Obviously, midfielder born and bred. That's a role that you've sort of played your entire career, and then being shifted to halfback. And I'll be honest, I was a bit sceptical, Mitchie, at the time, taking you out of your domain and where you've obviously played some serious footy, but you've taken to it beautifully. Any adjustments you've had to make, or is it just a natural ball winning thing for you that doesn't matter where they stick you, you'll get it done?
Yeah, well, first off, speaking of sceptical, I heard Mitchie's story first about you going back to centre half back, and I can tell you one thing, that's probably never happened because I've never seen you defend at all.
Probably the last time it happened.
It would have been the last time.
It's the first and last.
But no, I think it probably suits my game style a little bit. As you said, I played a lot of midfield, but also played a lot of wing, and I played a little bit of halfback as well, even that keel or there. And I think the way that I maybe read the play or read the ball, I almost prefer setting up behind the footy. So there's that element of it, and I sort of like being able to run hard to position off the ball as well. Whereas as a midfielder, probably the last couple of years, you're very much a first possession player or first touch player. So to be able to run a little bit more and maybe get a little bit more uncontested footy and probably get to position to outnumber, I think has been something that I've probably done a lot of prior to coming back into the Sunraysia League. So it's been nice to probably go back to that being maybe one of my strengths as well.
Good to hear. Richie, before we go on, mate, I just want to touch on, we've spoken a little bit about this year. Walk us through last year. And the feeling and what that meant, I guess, to you, the footy club. You know, we had Mark on earlier in the season and spoken to him and got the coach's perspective about it. But, you know, you've obviously put a fair bit of time into the Mildura Footy Club, was there when things weren't going quite well. But the feeling to get that reward for effort last year must have been pretty special.
Oh, it was massive. It's one of those things that you do genuinely dream of as a junior through Mildura. And once you realise that you're not going to be able to, you know, make it to high levels or those sorts of things, the ultimate becomes winning a flag at your home club. I come back in 2022 and we won 4 games for the year. So I was travelling from Melbourne, and then obviously the changes that we made, one of them being yourself, mate, coming into the club, which you can get me back for the Revive plugs. So like just the blokes that we brought on board there to build the momentum through there. And we had a couple of seasons there. We were thereabouts, but we probably weren't quite there. And then to have the season that we did last year and probably, you know, the first half or first 12 to 14 games where we were on a winning streak and just riding momentum was awesome. But then the way that we were able to come through some adversity and, you know, obviously going down to Robinvale and getting a touch up by a Rimple in that first semi, meant we had to adjust pretty quickly. And then the relief to beat Robinvale in that prelim final just opens us up a little bit to play with a bit more freedom. And yeah, that feeling of winning the flag and probably the hour or so we spent on the ground afterwards with just, you know, family and friends and volunteers and supporters, everyone at the club, you saw how much it meant to them, more importantly than just the 22 blokes that were out there. And obviously the club rooms after that was the busiest I've ever seen it. And
Off the charts.
You know, like you do really get a sense of how special a football netball club is to the community and those that have been around and put so much work into it. So yeah, it was unreal. It was a surreal feeling as well. And yeah, it was certainly one of the best moments.
Ricky, he bog on the field, pretty close to bog off it too.
I'm not surprised, actually, to be honest.
Don't know if Kerridge doesn't mince his words on the weekend as well, mate. He's
I mean, 18 years between flags for the club. I mean, I think it was the 3rd longest premiership drought, I think, in the competition, and only South Mildura and Merbein hadn't won one in that time as well. But as you said, mate, you came back from Melbourne in 2022 and came back through. What was the initial thought process about coming back, and then the build that time? You said it obviously took a little bit of time to sort of get going, but it felt like the club was kind of on a trajectory that way, and then just didn't quite get over those final hurdles maybe the couple of years beforehand. Tell us through, I guess, that journey from there to getting to where you guys got to in 2025.
Yeah, I think when I first come back, and it was sort of just after the COVID period as well. So I hadn't played a lot of footy in the last couple of years because of that. And then obviously just the league up here, it played minimal footy too. So I think we lost a lot of people around the club and lost a lot of momentum and motivation around the club in that 2022 season. And although we didn't win many games and although maybe we struggled a little bit in terms of getting supporters to the club, I think we had a lot of fun on field and off field as well, which I think was an important building block. And then probably the momentum changed a little bit when we were able to bring people into the club, not only on field. We had a lot of players come back that had probably played prior to COVID, but to have blokes that had been around the club for a long time, and but then to come back and whether it's on a Thursday night and be behind the bar and just come to the games was a massive change in terms of just that feeling and culture around the club, which I think then translated to on-field performance as well. And as I said, you're able to build momentum, you're able to keep blokes at the club for another year and then stack a couple of recruits on last year and fill in, I guess, some of those missing pieces. I think it definitely started off the field for us. And then, yeah, the club is building the best it's been in a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And you managed to keep the momentum going into this year as well. And you've mentioned that there's been quite a few young guys who have come in and really tried to make their mark at the moment. And quite a few of them we've mentioned over recent weeks. Really impressed on the weekend with young Anthony Fordham. I think his turn of pace was really good. His ability to pick the ball up quickly as he's running along. course, got the Keel boys out there who are looking pretty good. Impressed with Spencer Stewart playing as almost a makeshift key defender down there was doing nicely. So it seems like you guys have got confidence to give these young guys the opportunities at senior level.
Absolutely. I think you probably look at a couple of those blokes, and if you asked me at the start of the year whether a couple of these blokes were playing senior footy, I would have laughed at them, to be honest. But the way that they come on and really apply themselves over the preseason, you just build confidence, and you build confidence in a system. And when you've got everyone playing for one common goal, I think it makes it a lot easier for young blokes to slot in and play with the freedom and come in with confidence as well. Whereas you probably see maybe when you're not going so well, or it's not a fun place to be, or you don't have a good system, that these young players come in and they struggle, and then they go out and they lose touch with footy a little bit. Whereas, I think the ability for these young kids to come in and step up and play like they've played senior footy for 5 years has been awesome. So,
Mitchie, one more question before we get rid of the boring stuff, mate, and we get into the important stuff. Stop trying to read me sheet. Obviously, premiership last year. At the moment, the season's going really well. We've got some fantastic results. What's driving the group's success at the moment?
I think it's a little bit of that turnover as well. I think the drive is coming from the bottom up. I think we know that our recruits, our big dogs like yourself, are going to be able to perform week in, week out. It's those blokes that either are new to the club, or maybe they missed out on playing in the flag last year, or, as you said, trying to forge their career at senior level, that are really driving the group as well. And I think last year was, I wouldn't say it was a surprise necessarily, but maybe we were a year ahead of our time, in the sense that we probably had a 2 to 3 year plan. And to top that off with the premiership last year was awesome. But I think we left a lot on the table in terms of building and our potential there as well. So I think we're seeing a little bit of that at the moment. And we're obviously happy where we are at the moment. We know the quality of the competition. And I think in general, knowing that the quality and the players that we brought in, the quality of the teams, and we're in theory the hunted from last year as well, I think is meaning that we can't slacken off at all. So we sort of got to be on our game, and I think that's carrying forward.
He's a well-spoken man, and he's our skipper for a reason. He speaks very, very well.
Talking about polished, geez.
I tell you what. Anyway, mate, let's get into the fun of it. Now, I was a bit unsure on how hard we go with these questions, but you obviously watched the show, and we're going to get into our quick fire questions brought to you by the boys down there at Black Milk. I know you drink a lot of coffee in between appointments and stuff like that, so no doubt you'll be down there. I've got a little voucher for here somewhere, so don't run away without that. But make sure you get down there and see the boys. They do a fantastic job. Coffee, breakfast, lunch, whatever it may be. A big shout out to the boys down at Black Milk. I ask the questions, you answer with the first thing that comes to your brain. I know you've had a big day at work, but stay with me. Any pre-game rituals?
I wouldn't say rituals, but I have routines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get me.
It's usually whatever works well the week before, I'll try and replicate until it doesn't work. And so I play a bad day.
So the routine doesn't stay for a long period of time.
Yeah, no, I always put left sock, right sock, left shoe, right shoe. But otherwise, the dinners and the prep, or what time I get up, what time I wake up. If I played a good game the week before, I'll try and replicate that until I play a bad game, and then I'll just throw it out the window.
I love it. Best player you've played with? Locally or away?
Played with.
Don't look to your right.
Can I say a couple?
You can say a couple.
I'd say the best athlete that I've played with in terms of running ability and maybe strength might be the man on my right. In terms of probably one of the best seasons I've seen was Kane Barbuto, who was a Kilo captain. We won the flag that year. We went through undefeated. He won best and fairest, league best and fairest, best on ground in the grand final, captain team of the year.
It's your perfect season.
Yeah, he had the perfect season. So he's hard to beat. But probably the bloke that I've seen that has been able to do stuff that I haven't seen anyone else do was probably the P. Pegararo last year. So
he could play. He could play. Coffee order?
Small almond latte.
Small almond latte. He's an almond latte drinker. Biggest influence on your career?
Oof. Question.
Penalty.
Yeah. Probably, you could look at your junior coaches and that sort of thing and say probably even someone like a Mark Albee coming in as well. He's had a massive impact and even to play a couple of seasons under Mick McGuan when I was in Keilor as well. So probably those two.
Beautiful. Favourite movie?
Big Harry Potter fan. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you watched the entire series?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Front to back? You ever done a marathon in one go?
Oh, not in one go. That might be
a Harry Potter fan over here.
Not too much, but I think I made it to about number 5 and then I sort of ran out of steam after a while.
And they just keep getting better as they go. So
I actually didn't know that about him, so that's good. Mate, who's the player at your club, our club, that we need to keep an eye on?
I mean, we've already got the eye on him at the moment, and that's Elijah Brown. Yeah. Like he's just going that next level.
One word to describe your coach. One word to describe your coach.
I'll describe both of them with the same words but different meanings. Organised, maybe a little bit less organised.
I'm not sure what you're implying there, Mitch. Who talks the most rubbish game day?
Nathan Noel by a mile.
It's either him or Ben Hurley.
He's under.
Mitch and I are coming over for dinner. I'm very wary of what this may be. Mitch and I are coming over for dinner. What are you cooking us?
How's your first mistake?
I thought that might have been.
Yeah, I don't cook too often, to be honest. Maybe pizza. Yeah.
Home, mate.
Homemade. Yeah. I don't know.
Define home, mate.
Go to toppings.
Or I don't mind a little bit of maybe a barbecue chicken.
Yeah, nice.
Don't go wrong. Takes me to the last question, mate. Go-to takeaway after a game.
Probably pizza. Yeah, pizza if I get my hands on it. Otherwise, last weekend I think it was Macca's.
Where do you get the pizza from? Any favourite?
Last pizza I had was probably Sunraysia.
Yeah.
But
they're a staple.
I'm feeling a bit bougier than Pizza Gap.
La-di-da. No, mate, there are quick fire questions brought to you by Black Milk. That brings our chat to an end, mate. A huge thank you to Mitchy and giving up his time. He's just finished up work and rolled straight in. You're a hard-working man, mate. But all the best for the rest of the season. I'll see you next week at training. Don't be late. Thanks again for coming on for the chat.
Done. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, mate.
Done. Thanks, Mitchy.
Thanks, Mitchy. That takes us to a quick break. We'll be back to talk all things footy and the round to come.
The Footy Super Show is proudly brought to you by White Mildura and Chemist Warehouse Mildura.
You know, when you're selling your home, most people focus on price, but the method of sale, that's the ingredient too many overlook. And just like every dish needs a different recipe, every property needs the right approach. Auctions create energy and competition, driving urgency and strong outcomes in the right market. Private sales offer flexibility and control, ideal for certain homes or when more time is needed. And fixed date sales, they build momentum with a clear deadline, giving buyers structure and motivation to act. Each method serves a purpose. In the end, it's the right method that brings it all together.
Chemist warehouse in the middle of our street.
Discover Black Milk Specialty Coffee, Mildura's first true coffee institution, pouring premium 5 senses coffee on our Sunraysia MVP machine, paired with fresh creative breakfast, brunch and lunch. Black Milk Specialty Coffee, 51 Deakin Avenue, Mildura.
Welcome to the Footy Super Show. And now here's Sam, and filling in for Will, Mitch Rod.
Welcome back to the Footy Super Show. How good's that? He's an absolute Rolls Royce of the competition.
Absolute jet, and he speaks well, doesn't he? No wonder you've got him as skipper down there at Demon Land, but what a player he is and has been for a long, long time.
He has. He's a superstar of the comp, and we love getting those guys on the show. So big thanks to him for giving up his time. Now, in the break, I've had my phone ping from the great man at home, Big Wilbur.
The fact that you're raising this means I see a stitch up coming somewhere.
Well, what we need you to do is if you can just look down the camera and we'll get the lookalike up on the screen. But
Oh dear.
I'm not sure whether you've seen the movie Paris with Love
I have not.
with John Travolta, but anyway, the big fella's at home and he goes, I just can't put my finger on who this bloke looks like, and he sent me a photo and it is an absolute dead ringer.
So he's obviously a gorgeous human being then, is that right?
We'll get it up on the screen. Look down the camera. Dead ringers. Absolute dead ringers. Anyway, we'll move on, mate, because we have a huge round to preview. There's a couple of cracking games. Can you believe we're in round 8?
It's ridiculous, isn't it? By the time we have the next couple of weeks done, of course, the split round coming up, halfway through the season, which seems insane. We only started 4 weeks ago, I thought, but yeah, really important games coming up. And as we said earlier, some that could really shape the ladder from here on in.
We will. So let's take a look at those games now. Now, again, we touched on it before. Some huge games, but Wenny VO, Georgie G, when he backs against the wall, you're up and about.
Yeah, Roos v the Kangas, of course, the Bounding Cup out there, and it's going to be important for Wentworth. I think they would have backed themselves to have the win over Redcliffe's last week, and
I agree.
the result probably didn't go the way they expected. Whereas for the Kangas, they're up and about at the moment. They're doing really well. The guys they've brought in have really added a lot to their side and are really sort of pushing the forward. We talked about Kane Sherlock earlier. He's probably close to their best player, I think, across the season so far. So really interesting contest out there, and one's looking for momentum, one's hoping to keep it.
Moving on to South and Merbeen out at MSP. Speaking of backs against the wall, South need to win. Merbeen coming off the bye. It's always find a tough time whether they're going to bounce out or they're going to be a little bit lethargic and get jumped. But Merbeen travelling okay, big game South.
Absolutely. And I mean, we saw firsthand the 91-point loss last week, but I actually think it's probably almost slightly unfair to them in the way they played at times during that game. It was just probably just not able to convert at different opportunities. So for them, I think they'll be just hoping that they can have that little bit of killer instinct in front of the goals, which will hopefully get them back on the winners list after dropping the last 4. Where for Merbeen, they've just got the vibes going out of Kenny Park at the moment. They're just up and about. Obviously played really well against Redcliffe before their bye, sitting third on the ladder. I think 4-2 at the moment for them. I think they'd absolutely be biting your hand off at the start of the year if they had this record right now. So really looks as being an interesting game, that one.
It does, which takes us to Redcliffe and Imps out at Quandon Park. Redcliffe's obviously coming off a really good win against Wenny. Imps into some good form at the moment. It's going to be a belter.
Yeah, it certainly is. Two teams up and about in a bit of form right now, and two teams who historically do not like each other very much either, so you can expect it's going to be a tough contest.
Yeah, it might be a good day to be on the hill there, a few cans deep, and just listening to what's taking place and being hurled across the fence.
I think if some of the Redcliffe Resi's boys get playing Wise as Wizard again, I think it could be in for a big show.
Now, mate, that brings us to our game of the round, and the people at home may be thinking these two sides are last and second last, but in the scheme of things in the season and what's at stake here, this is a huge game of footy.
Absolutely. Irimple versus Robinvale Euston out at Henshelwood Oval this weekend. As you said, 8th v 9th, which I don't think anyone would have expected at the start of the season looking ahead into this round. You know, two teams that were expected to really be at the pointy end and potentially could still be depending on what happens from here, which just goes to show how weird this season has been so far. But yeah, really important for these sides, especially I feel for Irimple at the moment because they've been the benchmark for probably almost 2 decades now across the competition. It's the first time we've seen them really be down in this space for a while. Had a lot of injuries to deal with, so hopefully for their sake they get a few soldiers back and can start getting a little bit of form going. But for Robinvale Euston, I just sort of felt at the start of the year that they're moving into the right path. Got some really good recruits coming in. We've seen them play so well, but there's obviously just something that hasn't quite clicked for them so far. So obviously for Donny Falwell and for Jonah White, will try and really do as much as they can to unlock whatever the secret sauce is for them.
I'm mindful that they don't want to leave their run too late.
Yeah.
We're in round 8.
It's got to happen sooner rather than later.
Potential to go 1 and 6 is huge. And Robinvale for the team they got, they need to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really going to be tough for either of them to fight back from there if they go down, which makes the result of this one so important.
It's going to be huge. We look forward to them, mate. They're our games coming up this weekend. Tips last week?
Ordinary. Very ordinary. I'm pretty sure I only got you blokes and that was it. So first to show what my expertise is actually worth.
I've been telling you and Will for weeks, mate, if you want to get on board, just copy what I've got.
Well, Will did actually send me a message earlier on and was bristling a little bit the fact you're starting to get a little bit further away. So just watch out. There's going to be a big rolling thunder coming after you at some stage.
Okay. Well, let's run through the tips. Wenny v.
I'm going Oyen. I reckon just the momentum's on their side.
I'm going Oyen too, south of Merbeen.
I'm going the Magpies. I just reckon they're up and about at the moment.
I'm going Merbeen too, Redcliffe and Imps.
Whoa, tough one. I'm going to go Redcliffe purely for the fact they're at home. I think that's the only reason I'm going there.
Right,
but it's hard to go against Imperials as well, the way they're going.
It is. The form generally hasn't lied this year. I'm going to go Imps.
Well, we had to be different some way.
We did. And then our game of the round, Irimple Romba.
Whoa, hard to see where it goes. I'm backing Irimple just for the fact, again, that it's at home, I think, for them.
I'm going the Swallows too, mate. They're going to pick themselves up off the canvas. They need to rally. It's a home game. Thrummy will have them up and about. He needs a bit of help, the big fella. But
I wouldn't be surprised if there's less than a kick in this one. Like, I think it's going to be tight and go down to the wire, and not really going to be a surprise if either side comes out on top. But yeah, it's going to be really tough for whoever doesn't win this one to see where they end up at the end of the season.
It is. But I look forward to seeing those tips next week, because I'm going to start sending maybe Will some punishments, and like I mentioned, we've been talking tattoos. So
yes,
I might just start flicking him through a few ideas and a few body parts that he can potentially think about getting them on,
start turning,
and just getting the feedback, because I'm home and host, mate, which is great. That pretty much brings us an end to our show. We've got a huge, with the games being played this weekend, I'm excited to come in next week and see the results.
Yes.
Because I think this football ladder is really going to take a shape. I think there's going to be a solid 4 with some chases to do some work.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see where it sits from here. But again, like we said, it's quite hard to predict across this season. Well, apart from you seem to get it right just about every game coming through. But certainly it's going to be interesting. And I reckon especially once we hit that halfway mark in a couple of weeks, that'll be a real telltale sign of where we're at.
It will be, mate. Thanks again for coming in. 3 weeks in, and you can't get much better than what you have been, but you seem to bring it every week. So thanks for giving up your time. Look forward to coming in next week and talking all things SFNL footy. We can't do what we do without our major sponsors, Ray White and Chemist Warehouse. Huge shout out to those guys, especially this time of year. We get in, get what you need to do. Chemist Warehouse up and about. And then obviously the SFNL and Barry Plant, their naming right sponsor for providing the vision. So thanks again, mate. Good luck to everyone over the weekend. Well done to everyone who donated for the Big Freeze Fight M&D, and well done to those organisers as well. Over $50,000 raised, which is great. See you all next week.
The Footy Super Show is proudly brought to you by Ray White Mildura and Chemist Warehouse Mildura.
You know, when you're selling your home, most people focus on price, but the method of sale, that's the ingredient too many overlook. And just like every dish needs a different recipe, every property needs the right approach. Auctions create energy and competition, driving urgency and strong outcomes in the right market. Private sales offer flexibility and control, ideal for certain homes or when more time is needed. And fixed date sales, they build momentum with a clear deadline, giving buyers structure and motivation to act. Each method serves a purpose. In the end, it's the right method that brings it all together.
Chemist Warehouse.
Discover Black Milk Specialty Coffee, Mildura's first true coffee institution, pouring premium 5 senses coffee on our Sunraysia MVP machine, paired with fresh creative breakfast, brunch and lunch. Black Milk Specialty Coffee, 51 Deakin Avenue, Mildura.
Sun City Streaming thanks our wonderful sponsors for their generous support for our community YouTube channel and the Footy Super Show. Tesco Inland Petroleum, White Mildura, Chemist Warehouse Mildura, and Fisher Developments.